Welcome to DIY Design by CCW, DIY Design for the 21st Century. My name is Candy and I'm the host of this channel. Now let's get into this video. Well, hello there everyone. Welcome to DIY Design by CCW. Thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. Today I'm going to be doing a slightly different video. I don't typically do cooking videos on the channel, but I'm going to do one for you today. What I'm going to be making is spaghetti. Now, a few days ago, I watched a video. I don't know if you know the channel, Liz over at Jazzy Decor Style. She made some delicious spaghetti, and I've had a taste for that ever since. So today you're going to see my version of spaghetti, and I hope you enjoy. And I'm going to pause for a minute while I gather a few ingredients, and I'll let you see what I do step by step. Okay guys, since we try to eat healthy around here, the first thing I like to do is coat my pans. What I'm going to be doing is using one pan to brown some ground turkey because I don't eat beef. And then the other pan here, I can push this back. I'm going to use this pan to basically saute some green pepper, onion, and mushroom. Okay, so I'm going to get the ground beef ready, or rather ground turkey ready, sorry, and get the vegetables all chopped for sauteing, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, so while my turkey, ground turkey is browning, I'll show you what I'm going to be chopping up. I'm going to use a small or maybe medium-sized green pepper. I probably won't use all of this onion, but we'll see. And I'm also going to saute mushrooms. I love mushrooms in my spaghetti. Now my spaghetti of choice, or my noodle of choice, is Barilla. Let me hold that down so you can see it. Barilla. Now what I do is I prepare my sauce first, and I let that simmer. So the pot you saw on the stove is for me to prepare my sauce. I'm also going to use this ragu, Simply Made. I like it. No sugar added, 100% olive oil, and it's a traditional ragu sauce. But then to add a little more to it, I love to add some diced tomatoes right here. And I'm a contadina girl. I love contadina as opposed to Hunt's. So I'll also put in 2 cans of tomato paste. And this is the roasted garlic. And I don't have it out here, but I also use a can of tomato sauce. Now, I don't have it here, but I'm also going to add some Italian cheese. I love cheese in my spaghetti. So I just wanted to share with you what I'm doing. And I'll go ahead and get this stuff all chopped up, started the sauteing, and I'll be back with you. So, all right, guys, I'm getting my onions chopped. I've already chopped up the bell peppers. And I thought I'd show this part because I'm sure all of the ladies watching this video know how to chop an onion. But I thought, you know what, why don't I share the way I do it. Nothing too hard about it, obviously. You guys, I'm sure, do this all the time. Just section it. And I like fairly decent sized pieces of onion. I'm not that crazy about onion, but when it comes to certain dishes, and especially if the onion is sauteed, then I definitely will do that. And I don't want hunks in there, but, you know, decent size. So this is what I do. And Then I'm going to take these mushrooms out, rinse those, and I'll mix the ingredients for the sauce in this pot. When the turkey's done, I'll drain it, and I will put the turkey, mix the turkey in once it's drained, and all the sauteed veggies. I always add a little bit of Parmesan. And hold on, I said I'd show you this cheese. I've got to step off camera for a minute. I love my spaghetti loaded with cheese. So, and this is the type of cheese I use. Let me hold it so you can see it. It's Italian style cheese, finely shredded. So, I'll be back. I'll do a little more prep work off camera, and I'll come back and show you how I make my sauce. Alright guys, so now what I'll do while my mushrooms, onions, and peppers are sauteing is I'll show you how I start to do my sauce. Now, I'll tell you this, even before there was such a thing as Rona, as they like to call her, I would wash the outer parts of jars, cans, things like that, or rinse them off before I would start to cook. So we definitely have to do that now. But I always start with my sauce, my ragu as my base. Okay. Now these have been drained off camera, but I'm going to add in some of these tomatoes. Looks like I could have drained them a little more, but that's all right. That adds a little chunkiness besides the veggies and a pop of flavor, besides the, you know, the mushrooms and all that good stuff. Now, I always use contadina sauce, and this is a sauce with Italian herbs, so we'll add that in. I also use, again, contadina paste, and I'll do 2 cans of the paste. And here's the other can. So I've got the base for my sauce mixture, and I'm going to mix this up really good. So the meat and all the onions, peppers, mushrooms, of course, will get added into this. And then what I like to do is let this simmer for a little while, let the flavors mix in while my noodles are cooking. Actually wait, let it simmer for a little bit, because I like my pasta to be al dente, just right. And I'll share that with you how I boil my pasta. Alright, so that's mixed in. Now for seasonings, what I do is I like onion powder. And of course this is just for taste. And I'm going to add something else that I left. Step off camera for a minute. Might seem a little different, but I add a little dash of Worcestershire sauce. Could never say that. Worcestershire sauce to my sauce. All right. Now I will add garlic. And this is garlic powder, not salt. And this is onion powder, not salt. Now we're going to add in a little more Italian seasoning. And again, all this is just eyeballing it. You do it enough times and you kind of know how much you want in there. Okay, that should be good. I think I need just a dash more garlic. And a dash more onion. Okay, so the only seasoning salt I will use is Lawry's. No matter what, I don't care. I won't use anything else. So I sprinkle a little of that in. All right, guys. So this is what I do for my base. Now the cheeses, of course, won't be added until later. Once the veggies are done, the mushrooms, peppers, and onions and all that, and the meat, all of that's going to get added to this. So I'll stir this up. All right, now get ready to add those items, and then I'll be back. I'll show you what I do with my pasta. All right, guys, so now we're going to add in our turkey. Now, the nice thing about turkey is that when you cook with that instead of ground beef, is that you don't get all that fat that you have to drain. You also don't have to brown it. You know, you want to make sure it's cooked. But if you brown it too much, then it's actually overdone. So we're going to add this in. And I did season my meat just a little bit before putting it in. All I did was add just a little Lawry's to it. So here we go. We'll mix in a little more. I like lots of meat in my spaghetti. So there we go. Okay, so that's in. Now I will drain my sauteed onions, mushrooms, and all that, and we'll get that in. And I probably will do that off camera. Okay, so I did add my sauteed mushrooms, peppers, and onions. Here's my sauce. It's nice and chunky, full of meat. And I did sneak a taste. It's just right. So I'm going to put this on and let this simmer on a low flame. And I'll cover it. And then I'll be back in a second to show you how I boil my spaghetti, or the pasta. All right, guys. So I'm going to start my pasta. And as I said to you before, Barilla is my brand of choice. Now, what I do to prepare for it is pretty simple. Got my pot on here that I'm going to use to boil my water in. I make sure I bring this water to a complete boil. But there's something that I do rather than, and some of you may do this too, rather than putting salt in the water, I put a little bit of olive oil. I really try to be as careful as I can with salt, and we already have enough salt in the foods, which is why I use a lot of powdered seasonings as opposed to salts and herbs and things like that. But that's what I do, and I just eyeball it, put a little in there, and now I'm going to put this on to boil. Once I get a full rolling boil, I'll add my pasta. Now, I know a lot of folks like their spaghetti long and twirly, but what I do is break it in half so that it can all cook at the same time, because I found that if I just stick it in the pot, unless I'm using a really deep pot, some of the spaghetti cooks too long. So you'll see me, or maybe I'll do it off camera, but bottom line is what I do is break the spaghetti in half as I'm putting it in to boil. So let me go ahead and get my pot on, and I will be back. Okay, guys, I'm back at the stove. My sauce has been simmering. It's ready. And I've got my pasta all cooked. I rinsed it. I usually rinse it quite a bit in cold water. I really just want to make sure that nothing's, that it's just not starchy. Their noodles aren't stuck together, that they're just the right consistency. And I will tell you, I only used a half of that box that I showed you, maybe 75% of it, because we really like more sauce than noodles. Some people prefer it the other way around. Also, I grew up and still like to mix mine together rather than serve the pasta and then spread the sauce on top. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And we're going to mix this all in. Now, once I mix this all in and get it evenly coated, then I'll add my cheese. And I usually let it heat up a little bit longer, let the cheese melt down in there a little bit. And then when I serve it, I add the Parmesan. So again, I add that Italian cheese, which I like. All right, so we're going to mix this up really good. Make sure we coat everything with sauce. Deep down in there, get that. Get that off the stove here, just a minute. Okay, guys, I'm off camera a minute while I grab my cheese. We happen to like lots of cheese. Okay. And again, that's Italian cheese. And then I'll stir it up. See if I need to add any more. I might add just a little more cheese. I think that is good. Okay, that's enough cheese. We'll stir this up a little more. And what I'll do is let it heat up for just a little while longer. Sauce has been simmering, so I know everything is just right. And then I'll show you what it looks like. Plate it up and served. And typically with spaghetti, I like it the traditional way with garlic bread or toast, garlic toast, and a nice little tossed salad. Now, I won't show you all that on camera, but I will show you what this looks like. Now, I'm going to raise this up a little bit so that you can see that's how the spaghetti came out. And we're going to simmer this a little bit longer. And then I'll be back and show you how it looks plated. All right, guys. So there's my spaghetti all plated. The last thing I do before I serve it is add a little dash of Parmesan cheese. And again, we're going to have this with some garlic toast and salad. Well, that's how we would typically have it. And I just sprinkle on a little here to garnish. Okay, that's it. Okay, guys, there it is. That's my spaghetti. That's what it looks like. That's how it came out. And I've already kind of tasted a little bit. I can tell you that it tastes really good to me. And it's the way we like it in my household. So again, I thank you so much for watching. And I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. I do want to share one little thing with you, though, before we hang up. I don't know when you're going to see this video. I don't know when I'll upload it. You know, I haven't thought that through at this point. But I want to share that I'm watching this on Tablescape Sunday. And it was the Purple Mother's Day Tablescape Sunday. And as I was making this, I was thinking about my mom and my grandmother, because that was part of, obviously, what we were doing. And one thing I didn't share in the video, and if you'll bear with me, I'll share this really quick with you now. In my video, rather, my Tablescape Sunday video. So I said in the video that I had two mothers. My mom was very young, and because of that, I lived with my grandmother most of my childhood, and she basically raised me. And I said how different they are. My mom was really a glam girl. My grandma was all about home decor and decorating and all that. But what I also didn't share is my grandmother didn't like to cook, couldn't cook, not a lick, just something she didn't do. She was good at everything else in the home. Cooking was not her thing, so she tried not to do it. My grandfather did most of the cooking in our house. But my mother grew up to be a very good cook. She moved down south at one point as a young adult and really spent some time down there, and came back as, you know, with these good old Southern cooking skills, you know. And I spent quite a bit of my adulthood and actually raised my children in the South as well. And so I grew to be more of a Southern cook too. And I took after my mother. So I do love to cook, and I'm going to share some of my recipes and things with you. It's not something I had thought about doing on the channel, but thinking, why not? Maybe it's something you'd want to see. But I'll show you some of my, for instance, in the North, you make, well, let's put it this way. In the South, you make dressing. In the North, you make stuffing. While they're very similar, they're very different. And I do a wonderful cornbread dressing with meat that I learned to make in the South. I think it was Lynn's Lifestyle Living. I was watching her channel the other day, and she made some hot water cornbread. Now, that's something I made, you know, and I love to make and learn to eat and love when I was in the South. Love collard greens and yams and all that stuff. Now, I've changed my diet a lot because of some health issues I had a few years ago. So instead of pork, you'll see me do things with turkey and things like that. But, you know, and I do a lot of healthy eating. For instance, the only oil I used in preparing this meal was that little olive oil. I don't even saute in oil anymore. But anyway, that's all I wanted to share with you guys. Thanks for listening to me rambling on. And I will say this, like I say at the end of every video. One, if you haven't subscribed, I hope you'll do that today, and make sure you hit that notifications bell. Number two, you know what I like to say, I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching.